Seniors and Health warmly welcomes you. Doctors across the country are quietly studying the homes of seniors over 90, and what they're finding is surprising. These peaceful, modest spaces aren't filled with luxury. Instead, their simplicity holds genius-level wisdom about aging well. Let's step inside and uncover what truly matters. As we grow older, our environment becomes more than just a place to live, it becomes a mirror of our health, habits, and peace of mind. For seniors, especially those living alone, the home is often where most of the day is spent. And doctors are now realizing that the way a space feels can quietly shape the way a person feels, both physically and emotionally. A cluttered, noisy, or poorly lit home can contribute to anxiety, confusion, and even falls. Meanwhile, a clean, airy, and calming space can support memory, mood, and even blood pressure. But here's what's fascinating: the oldest, healthiest seniors don't necessarily have big houses or expensive furniture. What they do have are homes that reflect intention, routine, and deep inner clarity. These homes are often humble, but they are full of quiet energy. Every item serves a purpose. Every corner invites stillness. There is no chaos, only calm. It's not just about design. It's about how simplicity supports focus, flow, and freedom. That's why more doctors are paying attention. Because sometimes, the secret to aging well isn't found in medicine, but in the space where you begin and end each day. When doctors enter the homes of the oldest, healthiest seniors, one thing stands out almost immediately: there's no clutter. These homes aren't sterile or empty, but they are clear. No piles of unused items. No crowded shelves. No furniture blocking natural flow. Just space, open, intentional, and calm. This simplicity isn't accidental. Over time, many seniors have let go of what's unnecessary. They've learned that too much stuff creates not only physical risk, like tripping or falling, but also mental noise. Clutter can overstimulate the brain, especially as memory and focus naturally decline with age. Instead, these seniors create order. A small basket by the door for keys. A chair positioned by the window for morning light. Their homes are easy to clean, easy to move through, and easy to relax in. Doctors now understand, a clean, uncluttered space doesn't just look good, it helps seniors think, move, and live better. One of the most beautiful and surprising things doctors and researchers have observed in the homes of long-living seniors is this: nothing is random. From the teacup on the shelf to the worn chair in the corner, every item has a reason to be there. And often, that reason is deeply personal. Unlike younger generations, who may be swept up in trends and overconsumption, the oldest seniors tend to live with a deep sense of meaning. Their homes reflect that. When asked about a particular item, a blanket, a clock, a small statue, many can recall exactly where it came from and what it represents. My daughter gave me that after her graduation. That chair belonged to my husband, we used to sit there every night. These stories aren't just sweet memories. They're emotional anchors that bring comfort, stability, and identity. This connection between object and meaning is something doctors find fascinating. It turns out that memory and emotional resilience are supported by familiarity. In these homes, where nothing is excessive and everything is known, the brain has less to sort through and more to hold on to. Familiar things, especially those tied to happy moments, help protect against cognitive decline and emotional distress. In a way, these homes are not just living spaces, they're memory landscapes. Moreover, purposeful items reduce mental fatigue. When everything has a place and a purpose, there's less decision-making required. Seniors aren't searching endlessly for their glasses or keys. They're not overwhelmed by drawers full of unused gadgets. Instead, they move through their space with ease, comforted by a predictable rhythm. Doctors also note that these seniors tend to keep what is useful, not just sentimental. There's often a basket by the door with items for daily walks. Kitchen counters are clear, save for the one or two tools used daily. A walking stick may lean near the front door, and a lamp is perfectly placed near the reading chair. Form always follows function, and nothing is kept just for display. This simplicity doesn't mean lifelessness. In fact, these homes are often filled with quiet warmth. A handmade quilt on the bed. A photograph from 50 years ago, lovingly framed. A potted plant by the window that's been nurtured for decades. These details tell a story, not just about the person's past, but about how they live now. Intentionally. Quietly. With care. One doctor remarked after a home visit, "It's not just that they live simply. It's that their simplicity has layers, emotional, practical, and spiritual. You can feel it in the room." This approach to living, where every object is chosen, loved, and needed, is more than minimalism. It's mindful living. And for many seniors who have experienced decades of change, loss, and growth, this way of curating their surroundings becomes a way to stay grounded and emotionally balanced. In a world that often tells us more is better, these wise elders live a quiet rebellion. They show us that true richness comes not from owning more, but from deeply valuing what we choose to keep close. And doctors are beginning to agree, there's something profoundly healthy about that. When doctors walk into the homes of the oldest, healthiest seniors, one element stands out: light. Not harsh, artificial lighting, but soft, natural sunlight gently filling the room. Curtains pulled open. Windows not covered by heavy drapes. Plants reaching toward the glass. And often, a chair placed right where the morning sun falls. It may seem like a small thing, but doctors and aging experts know this is no accident. Natural light and fresh air have a profound impact on both physical and mental health, especially in older adults. Seniors who live the longest tend to arrange their homes in a way that welcomes light. Their rooms are not overfilled with furniture or stacked with dark objects. They allow the sun to move freely through their space, into the kitchen, across the bedroom, onto the living room floor. This is not just for beauty. It supports circadian rhythm, which regulates sleep, digestion, and mood. Many older adults struggle with insomnia or irregular sleep patterns. But seniors who receive morning sunlight each day, particularly before 10 a.m., often sleep better at night, have more stable moods, and show lower levels of depression. It's like their bodies still know how to follow the natural rhythm of the day. And it starts with light. Fresh air is another quiet genius of their homes. These seniors open windows. They let the breeze pass through. Even in winter, they may crack a window for a short while to let the house breathe. Why? Because airflow matters. It clears out stagnant air, reduces indoor pollutants, and refreshes the mind. It's a simple but powerful way to feel connected to the world, without needing to leave home. In many of these homes, doctors also find houseplants. Not dozens, but just enough to create a sense of life and care. A small pot of mint on the kitchen counter. A spider plant hanging near the window. These plants do more than clean the air, they represent a quiet responsibility, a reason to open the blinds each morning and check on something growing. The placement of furniture also reflects an awareness of light and flow. A favorite reading chair will almost always be near a window. A small table for tea is often placed in the brightest corner. Seniors don't just use light, they follow it. They sit with it. They let it touch their skin and their spirit. Doctors are now recommending that other seniors take note. In fact, some geriatricians suggest light therapy or natural light exposure as part of a daily wellness routine. But for these long-living seniors, it's already built into their lifestyle. One physician remarked after visiting a 94-year-old patient's home, she gets more healing from her open window and sunlit chair than most medications can provide. It turns out that designing a home with the sun in mind doesn't just brighten the space, it brightens the soul. In a world that often turns to complex solutions, the wisdom of these elders reminds us that simple, natural elements still offer the greatest power. Open your curtains. Crack a window. Let your space, and your spirit, breathe. Step inside the homes of seniors who've lived into their 90s with clarity and grace, and you'll notice something that isn't loud or flashy, but it's deeply felt, a gentle rhythm. There's no chaos, no confusion. Just calm. Everything has a place. Everything happens with purpose. The environment flows with quiet predictability, and doctors are starting to understand why that matters so much. For older adults, mental and physical function is often supported by structure. In homes where the layout is logical, tasks become easier and safer. A hallway is kept clear, allowing a steady walk from bedroom to kitchen. A daily use cup is always kept on the same shelf. Medications are stored in one drawer, neatly labeled and reachable. There's no wasted energy trying to find what's needed. This might sound ordinary. But in the world of senior health, consistency reduces stress and preserves autonomy. When a person doesn't need to rely on memory or guesswork for basic routines, their brain has more space to focus on other things, like enjoyment, movement, and creativity. Doctors note that in these well-kept homes, the seniors are not obsessively tidy, but they are intentional. They clean not out of perfectionism, but out of respect for their space. It's part of the rhythm of their life. Dishes are washed after meals. Beds are made each morning. Laundry is folded and put away, not left to pile up. These habits may seem small, but over time they create an atmosphere of self-dignity and care. There's also a surprising emotional benefit to this kind of order. Living in a space that's under control gives a sense of control. And for many seniors, especially those who have lost spouses, outlived friends, or faced declining health, this control becomes a powerful emotional anchor. Their home becomes a place where they can still lead, still choose, still shape their day. Doctors have even begun recommending environmental routines to older patients struggling with memory loss. Why? Because predictable surroundings support cognitive function. When a person knows exactly where things are, and when they'll use them, it strengthens memory patterns. It also reduces the risk of confusion, falls, or skipped meals. But more than function, there's a kind of beauty in this order. Many of these homes feel like poems, simple, clean, and intentional. The rhythm is visible: morning light in the same chair, meals at the same quiet table, afternoon rest in a familiar room. There's a sense that time moves slowly here, not rushed, not forgotten. This lifestyle doesn't come from wealth. In fact, most of these seniors live modestly. What they've mastered is not luxury, but clarity. And clarity brings peace. As one doctor put it after visiting a 91-year-old patient, "It wasn't the furniture or the size of her house that impressed me. It was the harmony of her space. Everything was calm, purposeful, and alive." In a world obsessed with constant change, these elders remind us that routine isn't dull, it's sacred. And sometimes, the best medicine is simply the quiet hum of a well-organized life. Inside the homes of the oldest, healthiest seniors, doctors often find something unexpected yet profoundly moving: a small, quiet corner set aside for personal reflection. It may be as simple as a chair by a window, a small shelf with a Bible or prayer book, or a photo of a loved one surrounded by fresh flowers. These corners are not accidental. They are sacred spaces, woven into the daily rhythm of life. Unlike younger generations who may seek stimulation or constant interaction, these seniors understand the value of stillness. They've created places not just to sit, but to feel. To breathe. To pray. To remember. To be. In a culture that rarely encourages pausing, these elders have reclaimed a form of spiritual balance within their own homes. One doctor who visited the home of a 96-year-old widow recalled, she had a small chair near her garden window. A single candle. A family photo. That was her space. She told me it's where she talks to her late husband and thanks the day for coming. That simple act, repeated daily, had kept her grounded through grief, isolation, and aging. These reflection spaces don't need to be grand or religious. Some seniors keep a reading nook where they sit every afternoon with a favorite book. Others light incense or place a stone from a childhood beach visit on a table as a reminder of peace. The point isn't decoration, it's intention. A physical place that signals rest for the mind, soul, and body. Doctors and psychologists are now recognizing the emotional and neurological value of these spaces. Just like how a child may feel secure with a bedtime routine, older adults benefit from a dedicated place for emotional grounding. These spaces lower cortisol levels, reduce anxiety, and provide mental clarity. They help orient the day, serving as a soft start in the morning or a place of calm at sunset. In homes with these sacred corners, doctors often note improved emotional resilience. Seniors living alone report fewer feelings of loneliness. Why? Because they've built a relationship with silence. With themselves. With memory. And in that silence, they rediscover their voice and their center. These corners also reflect gratitude. Many seniors will pause here to whisper a prayer, write in a journal, or simply sit in silence while watching leaves move outside the window. There is no performance, no productivity. Just presence. And presence is healing. Even those who aren't spiritual still benefit. A favorite music player, a calming painting, a comfortable chair, these items tell the brain, you're safe here. That consistent message, delivered daily in the same spot, creates a sense of sanctuary within the home. One doctor said, it's like these seniors have built tiny chapels in their living rooms. Not for religion necessarily, but for reverence, of time, memory, and peace. In a world that moves too fast, these quiet spaces are acts of quiet defiance. They remind us all that we don't need more things, we need more stillness. And perhaps the greatest wisdom we can take from these elders is this. Even the smallest corner of your home can become the most powerful place, if you enter it with intention and heart. When doctors visit the homes of the oldest seniors, those who have aged with dignity, clarity, and grace, they don't walk into grand estates or designer spaces. Instead, they step into something far more powerful, homes that feel alive, calm, and deeply human. These places are not built to impress guests. They are built to nurture the spirit of the person who lives there. There is a common misconception in modern life that a home must be filled with expensive items, flashy decor, or trendy pieces to be complete. But long-living seniors quietly reject this idea. Their homes are not curated for display, they are curated for living. They don't chase aesthetics. They chase balance, function, and emotional clarity. Doctors are beginning to understand what these seniors have known all along: a peaceful home supports a peaceful body. When the home breathes, when it isn't overstuffed, overstimulated, or overly controlled, the person inside it can breathe more freely too. These homes often have open pathways. There's space to move, to stretch, to simply exist without bumping into clutter or confusion. Rooms aren't packed wall to wall with furniture. Instead, you might see one well-loved chair, a tidy side table, and an open view of a garden or a quiet corner. The walls may be bare or adorned with a single family photo, softly framed. Nothing shouts. Everything rests. What makes these homes so healthy isn't just what's inside, it's what's not inside. No overwhelming smells from synthetic sprays. No constant background noise from loud TVs. No stacks of unused items waiting to be sorted. These are homes where things have been edited over time, carefully, gently. And what remains is what matters most. Doctors and gerontologists have noticed that such simplicity lowers stress levels, stabilizes mood, and even supports heart health. It gives the nervous system fewer reasons to stay on high alert. It invites the senses to settle. The eye can relax. The body can move without risk. The mind can drift into daydream or memory, without interruption. Perhaps even more important is what these homes reflect internally. They mirror the person's values. A lack of excess speaks to a deeper freedom. The senior doesn't need to prove anything. They don't seek validation through possessions. They've already lived the busy years. What they want now is peace, and their home gives it to them. One geriatric doctor shared this insight. Every time I walk into one of these homes, I immediately feel calm. It's like the space itself is exhaling. And the person inside isn't performing, they're just being. That's simplicity, it's not poverty. It's wisdom. We often say, your home reflects your mind. And in the case of these long-living seniors, that couldn't be truer. Their uncluttered, peaceful homes reflect a mind that's not obsessed with having, but with being. Being still. Being grateful. Being well. So if you find yourself overwhelmed by your space, ask, does this home serve your soul? Does it help you rest? Or does it demand more of you than it gives? Because at the end of life, the homes that matter most aren't the biggest or brightest, they're the ones that let us breathe, think, and remember who we really are. What doctors have found inside the homes of the oldest, healthiest seniors goes far beyond furniture, layouts, or even cleanliness. What they truly discover is something more intangible yet deeply present. These homes reflect the heart of the person living inside. They are not just structures. They are sanctuaries. Each room tells a story, not in flashy ways, but through subtle, intentional choices. A vase of fresh flowers. A single photograph by the bed. A favorite book gently resting near a lamp. There is no urgency, no pressure. Just presence. These homes are peaceful not because they are perfect, but because they are honest. Doctors now believe that this honesty, this emotional alignment between the home and the soul, has a measurable effect on health. When seniors feel safe, connected, and calm in their environment, their nervous systems relax. Blood pressure lowers. Breathing deepens. The risk of chronic stress, anxiety, and even inflammation decreases. The home becomes not just a place to live, but a place that gently restores. What's even more striking is that these homes do not depend on wealth or luxury. Many of them are small. Humble. But they are infused with something rare, clarity, peace, and intention. As one physician said after visiting a 97-year-old patient. She didn't have much, but every part of her space felt like it belonged. Her home felt like a heartbeat. And perhaps that's the lesson for all of us. A good home doesn't have to be grand. It just has to feel like yours. In the final moments of their home visits, many doctors walk away not with a list of medical observations, but with a quiet respect. They've witnessed something rare, spaces that heal without saying a word. These seniors, often living alone, have crafted homes that don't just support their bodies, they nourish their spirits. Their secret isn't expensive furniture or perfect design. It's simplicity. Intention. A refusal to let the outside world bring chaos into their most sacred space. And in that refusal, they find peace. Your home can be the same. No matter its size or style, it can offer calm, comfort, and quiet strength, if you let it. Start by removing what drains you. Keep only what supports your days. Create one corner just for rest. And trust that stillness, once invited in, will stay. Clean homes reflect clear minds. Create a space that doesn't just shelter your body, but calms your spirit.